Hi, I'm Laura, formerly known as Fritz, formerly known as Laura, and I'm going to make this video now before I think better of it. I could wait until I feel better physically and emotionally and had a chance to think about exactly what I want to say and how I want to say it, but then I might not make the video. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it and not worry too much about the consequences. Just to introduce myself, I'm 36 years old. I'm the mother of a 10-month-old boy, and that's something I'm very grateful for. It's not something I take for granted. It's basically a miracle if you know my story, and what my story is that when I was 16, I decided that I was trans. I'm probably one of the oldest people to have had the experience of stumbling on trans stuff on the internet and then self-diagnosing. I did that back when it was all message boards, and I was determined to pursue transition. It's not a decision that my family or anyone else made for me. I take accountability for the mistakes I made, and what ended up happening is I took testosterone on and off because I was so dysfunctional. But I took testosterone for a few years, and I had 2 botched surgeries on my chest, and immediately after the second one, the denial that I had been in for the last few years just fell apart, and I was faced with the fact that I was living a lie and that I just couldn't do it anymore. But at that point, nobody was talking about detransition, and I was alone with this problem, and I just started using drugs and ran away from everyone that I knew. I had spent the last, almost a decade trying to force all my friends and family to obey my rules and cutting people out who didn't. So I was very isolated, and fortunately I didn't die, and I ended up getting clean, and that was about 10 years ago, and I'm very grateful for that. But since then, I guess I've been feeling like one of my problems used to be, oversharing, and, it's probably better not to be trying to force other people to, listen to what I have to say, and it's probably healthier to not do that. But now I've found out that I can't go on like that. I need to tell my story because I think it could help people. And I hope it can. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to try to do that. And I mean, my life has been pretty good, for quite a while. But I can't say that I don't regret transitioning. I do regret it. I'm very grateful that I didn't make myself infertile. I'm a mother now, and that's just been so amazing. And I found out almost a year ago when I went online looking for people who would be breast milk donors for my son, since I can't breastfeed. I found out that there's a lot of women, a lot of mothers who are raising their young children as trans, who are active in like this sort of alternative mother online world. And I was really horrified by that. And I mean, I had read some articles about that. I mean, it's been pretty present in the media that trans is this mass cultural phenomenon now. But I had done my best just to ignore it. And it was always, celebrities. And I just did my best to ignore it, and that worked for a while. But then once I was confronted with these actual children, I started to feel like I needed to do something about it. And I needed to talk about my experience. And then, I've been pretty busy for most of the last year with having a baby, so I haven't done that. And then I just came across online, stories from other detransitioners. And that was really triggering, but in a good way, because I now feel, motivated to do something with this pain and maybe help some other people. And that's what I'm going to try to do. I don't know exactly the best way of doing that, but I want to let people know who have, reached a point where they can't keep lying to themselves, that it's possible to detransition and to become okay with their bodies, or at least most of the time. It doesn't have to stay like that. It can get better. learning to meditate was really important for me. I don't even really think about gender anymore on a daily basis, even though people frequently mistake me for trans or male. Even when I was pregnant, which is interesting, it just doesn't affect me the way it used to. And even though I now have a disfigured body, which is not attractive to anyone except maybe some sort of a weird fetishist, and I have health problems which are definitely related to having transitioned and which suck, I can accept my body the way it is. And that took a while, but it's possible. And, you know, for people who haven't physically transitioned yet, you know, I just want to say that it's a lie, you know. You know, there really are two sexes. It doesn't have anything to do with gender. I don't actually even feel like a woman now. I mean, I get that the definition of woman is adult, human female, and I accept that. So I accept that I'm a woman, but I don't really know what that means, and it doesn't matter to me anymore, you know. And I'm a mother, and that does matter to me. And, you know, for young people who, you know, I'd say under 25, it's not possible to know if you're going to want to have children when you're older. We're just not, as humans, we just don't experience that until we get to be like in our mid-20s. And that's just a fact. You can look that up. And for young people who are thinking about transitioning, you know, who are in their teens, you know, just wait. Just wait, you know. You can always do that later. You know, there's celebrities who've transitioned when they're super old, and that's fine too. You know, you can do that. You can give yourself a few years and then make a mature decision, because otherwise you could end up taking the future away from yourself. You know, you could end up making a decision that you can't take back, and you can always just wait and make that decision later once you've had a chance to mature into it. But honestly, you know, where I really feel like something needs to be done is this thing with the transgender children, because this is child abuse, and I don't really know what to do, since apparently talking about that is considered, you know, like the equivalent of, you know, being like a Nazi or something. But it's actually the opposite, because sterilizing people against their will is exactly what the Nazis did. And children don't have a free will. They don't understand anything. You know, if you tell children that Santa Claus is real, they believe that. If you tell them they can change their sex, they believe that. And, you know, I saw a thing online that said, you know, a transgender 4-year-old is like a vegan cat. You know who's calling the shots or something like that. And that's completely accurate. And as a parent now, I feel so protective of these kids, and it's so painful that I can't do anything about it. You know, there's this woman online who's talking about how wonderful it is that, you know, her little toddler is now, you know, living as a woman, you know, whatever that, you know, is supposed to mean, basically. And, you know, this little kid, you know, it started over a period. I went back, you know, and I looked back over how she got to this point over the last couple of years. And, you know, there's pictures of him, you know, playing with baby dolls. And I'm like, it's so sad. This little child is now on a one-way street, you know, to being sterilized and never actually being able to have a baby, you know. And it really is, it's eugenics. It's eugenics. And I'm a psychiatric survivor. I was diagnosed with a whole bunch of disorders that I don't really have when I was a child, because I didn't fit in. And I was put on a bunch of medication, and I'm sure that played a role in why I was so disassociated from my body as an adolescent, that I believed that I was trans. And another part of that was that because I had felt so disempowered by my experiences with doctors, when I discovered trans, I felt like I was turning the tables on them. It was this false sense of empowerment, like I was calling the shots, you know. But, you know, the reality is that, you know, I'm a woman, and I'm different. And, you know, in, the 19th century and, you know, the 20th century, you know, women like me were forcibly sterilized, not just by the Nazis, but also in the United States, and in Britain, and, you know, all over the place. This is going on. And then, you know, as a society, you know, we finally stopped doing that. And now it's happening again. but with this illusion, this cult of free will that says that people are choosing it. And, you know, I'm sorry, but children can't make a choice like that. They don't actually have the ability to make informed consent. They don't have it. And this is something, you know, like in the Netherlands in the 70s, they legalized pedophilia because they said, oh, children can consent to having sex with adults. And then they realized that was a mistake. Because children can't, and we know that. We know that a child might think they can consent to being abused, but that they actually can't. And that's exactly what this is. It's not any different, except the ramifications of it are so serious because it involves people being sterilized. And that's just so horrible that I can't remain silent about it. And so I'm making this video. You know, I might make more. It depends on if I feel like I'm reaching anyone who needs to hear this message. I know there's going to be people who probably respond with hostility, and that's fine. I'm just going to do my best to ignore that. And, you know, I'm very busy with being a mom and being a student, and I'm not going to necessarily have time to, like, answer responses if I get a whole bunch of them. But, you know, right now, for all I know, I'm not going to get any responses, and that's fine, too. So I'm just going to put this out there and see what comes of it. And I thank you all for listening. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, feel free to forward this on to them. And if I help just one person, then it was worth it. So thank you.